Well, hello folks, this is FatGuyFliesRC coming to you from the Man Cave Studios. Alright, yes, you've seen this plane on my channel before. A few years ago I had this and flew the dog mess out of it and ended up actually trading it with a buddy of mine up north. He wanted it and I traded it with him, and time's gone by and FMS started sponsoring me with planes, and they said, hey, could you review the A-10 for us? And I'm like, yes, I'll be happy to. So they sent it out to me. So let's get it out of the box and go over the parts. Now, like I've said, and I always say on my channel is, anytime you're opening up these boxes, these things are so vacuum formed in these boxes, and it's easier just to open up either end and push it out, because otherwise you have to fight with it. E-flight, they're all bad about it. I mean, it's a good thing. Everything tight fitting usually means quality, normally, anyways. But yeah, let's get her out of the box. And I know y'all, some people are like, oh, I guess so. Unboxing. Come on, what's the point? Well, some people like that. They want to see, you know, what's the first impression, you know, of what you get. I mean, this plane is what, $639, and it's also big, so you have to think about where you're going to be assembling it, how you're going to put it together. So that's, you know, and what to expect before you spend $639, $640, or however much. I know it's an expensive plane, of how much before you spend your money, what are you going to be getting yourself into? And as you can see, everything is packaged as you expect. Something that you spent your hard-earned money on. It's very well protected. Okay. And another thing to do these, even if you don't have a YouTube channel yourself, I highly recommend you videotaping and taking pictures of a box of a plane like it, especially anything this expensive, which is everything these days. Because, especially take pictures, because if you have to send it back for whatever reason, it's good to know how it's put together, because some of these things are very hard to put back in their box. They're like a brain teaser jigsaw puzzle. Now, as I've said many times on these planes, you can see the individual cell, but you can't feel it. It has the feel of metal. And this is all hard plastic here, so that's nice. Same thing with this one. Everything's labeled for you. A little bit of foam on there. Okay, let's go ahead and get this. This, I believe, is all missiles, if I remember right. I also remember, the one thing I remember about this A-10, and I'm hoping this is improved, they didn't have much glue in the retracts. The retracts came out after I hit the grass a few times, and of course they weren't the best landings in the world, so I can't deny that. But the retracts came out. But to the credit of that, I started thinking about it, and people point out to me that's for a reason sometimes. That way, if they do come out, they come out clean, and you don't break anything. And that's exactly what happened. They both came out, and I used a little bit of Gorilla glue and put them right back in, or some epoxy or something, and went right back in, easy peasy. Flew the dog mess over many more times like that. So, and the other thing I was going to say that I noticed about this A-10 is the ordnance. Flying with the ordnance and without the ordnance, I didn't notice any real change in her performance. So as you can see, there's plenty of ordnance. Plenty of ordnance. Always look everywhere in your foam coffin here. You want to say you're nothing here, nothing here, nothing here. And just make sure you didn't miss anything. Look in all these little compartments, because sometimes there'll be like a little bag of screws wrapped in some of this material down in one of these pockets, and you'll never see it. You'll never see it. And you'll think, man, they didn't pack the screws, those idiots. I paid all this money, now I gotta wait for emails and everything, and oh, come on. And it's still in there. It's right in front of you, you just didn't see it. One of the wings, Okay, these are real hinges. These are not pinch hinges. These are actual mechanical hinges, slotted hinges. So all we got to do is center our servos and hook up our ball links. Easy peasy. And the only way I'm going to be able to tell is if they got enough glue is whenever this extends, I'll kind of feel on a little bit. If there's no give at all, I know I'm good. The other thing I love about this is, looky there. Quick connect and just 2 simple bolts per wing. So 4 bolts and 1 spar, or the 2 spars, 2 bolts and a quick connect, which is very, very simple. You can take this wing off, on and off in just a few moments. But like I said, I didn't notice much of a difference in performance with the ordnance on or off. So that's cool. Again, like I said about the other piece, you can see the cells, but you certainly can't feel them. Now I wish they had taken the time to paint the white. I mean, the rest of so much else is painted, but and I love this Arctic camo. Believe it or not, this camo, yes, it does work, but this camo, it looks good in the air. It has such a beautiful presence in the air. All of my planes, I got 3 or 4 planes that are Arctic camo like this, and I love the way they look in the air. All right. Oh, see? Hear that? Exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about. And looky there, wrapped up, all your nuts and bolts. And this is the drop-down antenna, I believe. Yeah, drop-down antenna on the front of the plane. Okay. Find one compartment that you don't have nothing in. Start shoving your foam in. Your ever important inspected by medallion. Very important. Very, very important. Manual, which is just folded down in there, folded up. So how am I going to read that? I mean, it's just going to be like, that's why I hate folded manuals. But I know there's a lot of other things in life to complain about besides folded manuals. That's just one of my little pet peeves. Me and Brian Phillips share that. Nice elevator, mechanical hinges. I like that. Plenty of throw back and forth. Got all your little wires labeled there for you. You got your elevator, rudder, rudder. Okay. And that's elevator, and that's elevator. And this rudder here, this has got to come up out of here. Well, anyways, we'll get to that in a minute. Canopy with your pilot there. All right. Okay. We're getting somewhere. We're getting somewhere. We're getting down to the nitty gritty. Down. Look. More missiles. More missiles. And foam trays. All right. Pull all the stuff out of the back and it's inside the fuselage cavity there. Another foam tray. Another piece of packing foam. All right, now to grab a hold of this fuselage, the grand fuselage. All right. Now, nice thing about this gun, unlike the big free wing, the 80mm, this doesn't have a light in it, but this whole hard plastic structure goes deep into the fuselage, which is great because then I can take this fuselage and I can stand it on that gun in the corner and it ain't going to hurt it at all. I used to stand this entire plane with the wings on, everything in the corner. All right, now what all we got here. Got a U-back. Okay, now this, just got to make sure you can, once you get your model all put together, you can plug this in your bind port, okay, or wire it into your flaps or wherever you want. This just needs to have power, because it will not, your engine will not start or fire up without it, okay. All right, now here we've got everything throttle or labeled, all your normal 6 controls, got an ESC 5 connector, okay, right there. Big battery bay, plenty of room, so yeah, won't have any problem at all. Remember, this is not a death Dorito, so you're not looking for a tail, a rearward aft CG. You're wanting to be nice and level, okay, so plenty of room there. All right, this one here does not come with the reflex version. This is just this is a U-flex version. You're the reflex. You're the gyro. So, yeah. Okay. Let me get all the parts, get all my materials together. We'll change our camera view, and we'll come back, and we'll go over everything. Hold on just a second. Alrighty. I'm going to use one of the wing spars as the pointer, but these are all the parts. You got both halves of your rudders, all of your missiles, both wing spars, the canopy, your nuts and bolts, little antenna, elevator, fuselage, manual, and both of your wings. All right, now, looks like, let me look at these screws here. Oh, this is wonderful. Looks like all of the screws are all exactly the same size, and looks like a 2mm hex drive. All right, let's change our camera view, and we're going to start putting this bad boy together. All righty. First thing you're going to want to do is turn your attention to your elevator. Pull your locking servo leads out of either end. Okay, pull them out. All right, you're going to grab each one of your elevator or rudders. Okay, and this is going to attach from the front. Okay, and you're going to be using a 2mm hex drive. Okay, so let's go ahead and get this rudder here ready. Of course, it does help immensely to grab the correct side. You can just lay these side by side, and remember, anytime you're hooking two servo leads together, light to light, dark to dark. Light to light, dark to dark. That's always going to be. There's plenty of room for that wire to fit down in there. Then you're going to slide these two pieces together like pieces of a puzzle. Okay, just like that. All right. Do the same thing over here. Grab your servo lead. Light to light, dark to dark is always going to be the rule, no matter what's a white line, a white signal wire, or a white or yellow signal wire, like in this case. Those click together just like that. Okay. Got plenty of room for those wires to tuck in there. Plenty of space. This is really well designed. And then just slide those two pieces of the puzzle together. Just like that. Okay. Now, I was wrong about the screws. You got the bigger set and then the smaller set. Get these magnetic trays. They're just a huge advantage. You're going to use only 4 of these. You're going to have 1 left over. Okay. And they go in from the very top here. Okay. You might have to wiggle them in there to get everything to line up just right, but it'll go. Okay. Get your screw ready. Okay, even if you have to lay it down. There. Oh yeah, that's got bite. Baby got bite. It has a very definite bottoming out point. I'll lay that like that. Okay. Sometimes these magnetic trays are just a little too good. Okay. Now, something I should have done, but I need to get around to do, is I need to cover this man cave table with a like a blanket or something. Okay, that's not wanting to line up there. Like a moving blanket would be perfect. Okay, let me see what's going on here. Sometimes just changing the angle is all that's needed. Okay, that's going down in there. You just have to find that right angle, that correct angle, because you want this to fit in tight. I mean, this is part of your structure. All right, let's go to the other side here. And when you're all said and done, you should have one screw left over. One screw that's loose. One loose screw. This right here, in all actuality, and the next step are the two hardest parts of the entire build. And this is not hard at all. Okay, now, so that's on there. Okay, so let's change our field of attack here. All right, now you're going to be using your longer screws. Okay, and this is going to be on there with the flaps, obviously the elevator towards the rear. Okay, so what I suggest doing is laying it just like this. Okay, and start. Now these are labeled rudder, and these two here on the fuse are not labeled. So deduction would tell me the one that's labeled rudder up here is the one I'm going to use. Okay, remember, light to light, dark to dark. Okay, click that in there. Okay, and then I'm going to take one of these elevators here, hook it up. Guess what? Light to light, dark to dark. I know I keep repeating myself, but I want to burn that into your brain. That is the rule, because you'll go through all this work and all this headache getting this thing put together, and if you didn't have one of them hooked up right, you're thinking, how come my elevator's not working? How come my rudder's not working? I got everything, got the radio in, everything. Well, that's stupid model, poorly designed. Okay, now you're going to want to tuck all them wires as the best you can, feed them in there. Now there's room, but you still want to get as much out of the way as you can. Okay, because you don't want any wires being pinched. All right, let's take a look at from underneath, from either side. Nothing's, something, I don't feel right about that. Tell you what you can do is actually reach up in there in that fuselage, if you can get a hold of the wires. Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to. Well, anyways, you're going to want to sandwich all these wires in this trough in here to where none of them are in the way. Now, I know you're not able to see what I'm doing because it's out of camera view, but all I'm doing is just laying all them wires down to where they're going to fit down on that trough and nothing's going to be in the way. There we go. Okay, all right. Now, you're going to take your screws, and anytime you're doing a multi-port connection, I always like to crisscross my pattern. Alrighty, so that part's done. All right, so while we're here, let's go ahead and put in two peripherals that don't require any glue. Okay, you got these two antennas. The fat antenna, this one, goes in this first hole here. Okay, and then the second shark tooth looking one goes right there. Okay, and then between the two, you're going to put in this little sharp one right here. But we'll do that in just a second when I get the glue out. All right, turn our attention to the wings. All right. Actually, I need to take this. Change our configuration here a little bit. All right. Both these wing spars are exactly the same size, so it doesn't matter where you put them at. Twisting motion. Twisting motion. Okay. It always helps when you're going to put the wings on that you grab the wings. Okay. In this case, see them two holes there? So FBI calls that a clue. Fish that in there. And these wings are meant, push it all the way through till you feel the end point. They're meant to be slid on and off. They know you're going to be taking this model apart because of how big it is. Okay. And that should, all right, that's going to line up just like that. Now, for counterweight, because otherwise you're going to be fighting it, go ahead and slide on your other wing. Okay. All right. There you go. Now, both wings are on. Now, I got to get back over there. Well, no, I don't. Okay. Now, those same long screws is what we're going to use. Now, you're putting wings on the same thing. Something I like to do is wing bolts are famous for not lining up. Get one in there, okay? Then you don't anchor it down all the way. Get it lined up, and then you can use that as a pivot point to kind of push this way on this wing here to line this other one up. And sure enough, that's exactly what it needed, okay? So now I can anchor this down. Okay, start seeing that plastic dent in. You know you're good. Same thing I'm going to do here. Except this time, I'm going to go back here, get this one in. Whichever one goes in, no problem. Okay, get that in there. Actually, I anchored it down too far. Let me back that out just a touch. Okay, all right. Then I can use the wing, kind of pull that in over right here, and line this one up, and that way I know that I'm in good shape. Okay, anchor that one down. It's got a definite bottoming out point. Oh, poke a hole in your wing. Always do that at least once. All right, that's in there. That wing is not going to come off until I'm ready to take it off, because it's very, very simple. All right, now let's talk about bombs. Bombs, because the bombs on this plane are significant. Okay, this is a significant thing. But like I said, because I've had this model before, I'm going to tell you, in my estimation, it doesn't matter about how you fly it, because maybe you can see what I'm doing, is the plane flies just as well with the bombs on or off. Now, the telltale way, according to the manual, to get this right, is you're going to put your double cluster bombs, which I don't know what they're called. Okay, this is a double cluster because there's two bombs. It says that they go on the outermost panel. So right out here. I don't know if these are labeled left or right. So that one didn't slide on, so maybe that's what it is. But once you get them, well, that makes sense because there's a decal that was going to be toward the outside. There you go. All right, so I just like doing this and just work my way in. Okay. And like I said, just kind of remember your arrangement. These double ones go in, okay? Then, I guess it's just choice then. Note the missile rails are angled differently due to the shape of the structure. Okay. All right, so the next ones are the boxy looking ones. which I'm sorry that I keep putting my head in your face. It's these guys here, whatever they're called. And like I say, they're angled. So this is going to be, and you can tell by the way it's angled that I'm doing it wrong. Okay. Oh. Okay. The bullet side goes towards the front. Duh. Hello. I'm so smart. All right. Next up, I believe, are the Mavericks. I could be wrong. Yep, it's the ones that say Maverick on the side. So obviously, if it's got Maverick, it's going to be hang out over here. Okay. Just like that. And this one says Maverick. I'm sorry. I know you're like, could you please stay out of the camera view? Okay. Okay, that slides in there next. And then next up are these guys here. They have the little spot on the end. Okay. You can tell when you got the right one. Well, I say you can tell. There she goes. That goes there. And I guess you could arrange these differently if you wanted to. That goes there. Okay. There's always going to be one of them that's going to be a booger bear. There you go. You just have to fight with it. Where does it go? Oh, okay. Okay. All right, that's in there. Okay. Now, let's turn this beast over. However, look at what I got. Look at the problem I'm going to run into now. Turning this beast over, and I'm going to be, well, maybe I won't. Maybe I won't hit the bombs. Okay, this is, all right. All right, put your hand up between them bombs. Okay, there we go. There we go. All right. That's one mean looking machine right there. Okay. I'm going to put that on there. Okay, now you got that. All right, now these little peripheral pieces that you glue on, I'll glue them on off camera. Okay. The only thing I'm going to glue on right now on camera, and I'm going to show you my new absolute favorite glue that I've been using. This stuff, got this on Amazon, $24 for 2 packs, and it's this Magic Chem. It's medium CA, okay, and I'm absolutely loving it. I really am. Well, let me scuff that up just a little bit because I am joining 2 pieces of foam together. Okay. Take one of them extra screws you got. Okay. It's just a medium CA. Put that on there like that. In there like that. And this kicker will get down in there. I mean, you get 2 of these big packs for $24, and each pack has 2 of these jars of CA, medium CA, and your big thing of kicker. Okay, and you get 2 of those. So you get 2 of these, 4 of these, and then you get little tips and all kinds of an extra tube, an extra empty bottle, and I'm loving this stuff. It's very great for models. Absolutely great for models. Alrighty. Okay, that, folks, other than those last two little peripherals, which looks like one goes right here. Yep, right there. Oh, actually, no, it's actually has threads on it, metal threads, and this just screws in. Okay. You know what? Let's just go ahead and do that. That just screws in. Okay, there. That's in there. Now, see, that's the problem. This ain't exactly a small model, and both of these things go on the underside of it. Okay, here. Goes on either side of that right there. You just kind of poke it in where you want to find grab at. So what I'm going to do, I want to take my medium CA here, coat either side of that. Okay, we'll find the hole there, and a hole there. Okay. All right. And then we're going to kick it. All right. Now, the other itty bitty peripheral is a shark tooth peripheral that goes back here. Okay, remember you got these two fins back here? All right. It just pokes in between the two antennas. Pokes right in the foam seam. Okay? And then just kick it. Kick it! All right. And that instantly activates that CA. All right. Well, there you go, folks. That is the basic assembly of the 70mm A-10. You know what? Did I even say the name of what this was at the beginning of the video? Well, anyways, that is the basic assembly, all the assembly of the twin 70mm A-10 from FMS sent me out for review. All right. I'm going to, of course, I haven't hooked up any of the control surfaces, but I'm going to put a receiver in it and get everything bound up and get it ready for flight ready. And then we'll come back here to part of this video and I'll show you around the plane with all the electronics and everything and all lit up in all of her glory. So stand by. Well, hey folks, how y'all doing? All right, well, we got the A-10 all put together, got her all bound up and ready for flight. To let you know, I did have a short in the nose landing gear. I just followed the wire. There's a circuit board back there. There's two screws that hold in the bracket. Under those two screws, pulled it forward, and sure enough, one of the little metal connectors are part of that servo connection. One was pulled out a little bit, so I just pushed it back in, put a little tape around it to hold it in place, plugged it back in the same spot, and now it's no problem. These are things you have to do that sometimes just part of it. You know, you have to troubleshoot a little bit. These things get jostled around in the shipping crate and get thrown together sometimes, and you know, there's just little things you may have to do. But that was this situation. Now yours may not have that problem. All right, I've already worked out my CG. I've centered all my servos, got everything connected. I found that all of the push rods had to be turned in a little bit, about a couple of turns, which is great. I'd much rather have to make them shorter than make them longer to get everything bench trim. When I say bench trim, I mean everything's linear and straight and lined up. We'll go over rates and everything at the field, but just to show you how everything is electronically. Just to show you how everything's working. Okay.
Motors are so very chill.
All
Safe
right.
to pick up.
Watch the gear here go up and down. Uh-oh. Oh, the little thing detached on there. I'll fix that. It's just a little thing detached there. Yeah, it's just a little rod. Got to hook that back up. Well, there you go. So she's all ready to go. CG on the plane. I like to check the CG when it's down, when the gear's down, like she's going to land, is 85, if I remember right. Yeah, 80 to 85 from the leading edge root, which puts it right about there. Okay. And she's pretty level right there. Okay. And that is with a 6,000 HRB, to show you where I've got it. She's not a small plane. That's where I've got the 6,000. Now you see that bottom line down there? That line, that bottom line that I grew. If I had a 5,000, that's where I'd slide that down. But I have 6,000. So I'll run this on either a 6,000 or a 5,000. Set my first timer for 3.5 minutes on a 6,000, and we'll see where we're at. But there you go. That is one mean looking A-10, the Arctic Camo, 70mm, twin 70mm from FMS. FMS, thank you for sending the plane out to me for a review. I cannot wait to get it in the air and show it to y'all and do a review. And this is all part of their 2025 like their autumn sale, their Christmas sale. They got going till the 30th or 31st of December. I think it's till the 30th of December. And there'll be a link in the description of the video where you can get mine. You can use my link. If you're the first time ever using my link, you can take 10% off the entire order. And then that's one per customer. And then any other time after that, use the other link, and it's $10 off whatever you put in your cart. So $10 off your item. So there you go. Now the holiday sales may be a better deal. I don't know if they'll stack or not. Give it a shot. It might not. But there you go. God bless y'all. Y'all have a good, and God is good. And let's can't wait to get this bad boy up in the air and fly around. See y'all later. Bye bye.